I chowed down on Velgrynd, and things were a lot calmer. Now that I had the time to look around, I surveyed the battlefield. Although the surrounding forest lay devastated, Rimuru felt relieved to find the capital safe, defended successfully by Gald and his forces. So what are you doing here? Sir Rimuru. You see, I was making sure that nobody would get in your way. I felt like someone was watching me during that whole battle against Velgrynd. It was annoying, to be honest, but I didn't really have the time to attend to it. So here we are. I definitely felt like I deserved to complain. Alright. Fine. But everyone else is working their asses off right now, so you go join them. Yes, my lord. He gave me a sad puppy dog look before leaving. I really do have no idea what's going on in his head sometimes. I imagine he was watching your battle, master, under the auspices of preventing anyone else from interfering. Frankly speaking, it was unnecessary. Seal sounded just as fed up with Diablo. Talk about bitter. But regardless, now I could chill out a bit and go back to dealing with Velgrynd. It'd be up to Ludora to explain matters to her, and hopefully see things our way. When I checked in with him, I found that Ludora was basically blaming me for everything. Ugh, I thought, why do I have all these problem children working for me? I assumed he was trying to deflect Velgrynd's rage by making me out to be the bad guy. My sister, I wanted to tell you that I was safe, but Rimuru didn't let me. But now that we're in the same position, you'll understand what I am saying, right? That kind of thing. It was like a spoiled child blaming his friends because he didn't want to get yelled at. Terrified of his sister Velgrynd's wrath, Ludora shirked his persuasion duties and blamed Rimuru, leaving the exasperated slime to face her heightened anger alone. So, yeah, I couldn't leave Ludora in charge any longer. I needed to explain to Velgrynd that she was in the same position as Ludora right now. Before that, I have something to report. What's that? As I was analyzing Velgrynd, I found out that she was under the domination of someone, possibly Ludora. I can lift the influence on her, but what would you like to do? Oh, come on. Way to drop another bombshell on me. Upon receiving Seal's casual report, Rimuru learned the shocking truth that the true dragon Velgrynd was being mind-controlled. Unable to overlook this, he resolved to act. But you think Ludora was the culprit? It is all but certain. I had observed the battle between Carrera and Tsaya Kondo through the Soul Corridor, and Kondo was similarly under Ludora's control. I assume the case is the same with her. Leaving the captured Imperial General for later, Rimuru faced a bigger problem. How to handle Velgrynd. With Ludora proving unreliable and Velgrynd likely under Rudra's mind control, reasoning with her was not an option. So now what? Since we've gone through the trouble of taking her in, why don't we appoint Velgrynd the same position as Ludora? Huh? You mean, like, connecting a soul corridor to her like I did with Ludora? And then I'll make her into an ultimate skill. Is it even possible? Not a problem. You are now equivalent to at least a true dragon, Sir Rimuru, and you have more than enough magicules for the job. I think it is possible enough for you to take in Velgrynd. Observing Veldora's untamable nature, Rimuru concluded that true dragons cannot be controlled. To prove his innocence, he decided to grant Velgrynd the same freedom. Should the siblings clash as a result, he resolved to let them handle it themselves, steering clear of their family drama. Alright then. Let's put her in the same state as Ludora. If you're still anxious, would you like me to place some restrictions on Velgrynd? Restrictions? Is that even doable? Yeah, considering what lies ahead, maybe we need to set things up so she can't disobey me or whatever. But that's kind of against my principles. If I fail to get Velgrynd over to my side, it's better for everyone involved if I keep her isolated in complex space. Forcing her into anything would just make me the same as Ludora. If she doesn't cooperate with me, then fine. As long as she promises not to interfere with us, I have no problem with her going out and living wherever she wants. Very well. That's your style, after all. So my policy was all worked out. Let's put it into action. First, some hellos. Hello Velgrynd. How are you? Are you Rimuru? Quit messing with me. Let me out of here right now. Within his imaginary space, Rimuru approached the rampaging Velgrynd. By consuming the power controlling her, he established a soul corridor to unlock her mind. The connection succeeded, instantly calming the chaotic true dragon. Right, Rimuru. Did you, by chance, do something untoward to my sister? Shut up, you idiot. Of course not. If you had persuaded her like I asked you to, I wouldn't have to go through any of this. We were about to have an argument right then and there. Silence. Oh, okay. My apologies. Ludora and I nodded at the same time to this outburst. To be honest, I was scared. No wonder Ludora looked so uncomfortable around her. So what is the meaning of this, Rimuru? The meaning? That's a little hard to answer. I really had no idea what to say. I can hear the voice of my separate body on the other side, but my own voice isn't reaching it. What did you do to me? Having such a beautiful woman stare me in the eye like this made my heart skip a beat. Her breath on my face made me lightheaded. It smelled so good, sweet and fragrant, perhaps because she normally didn't need to breathe at all. Now is not the time for this. Velgrynd is likely asking the question because she has been freed from Ludora's control. Are you a little angry at me? That is just your imagination. You think? Well, either way, better to drop this topic. Seal gave me a full explanation, and according to it, the story's pretty simple. The Velgrynd in front of me is freed from her mind control, but her separate body elsewhere is still under Ludora's thrall. Seal had thus used unlimited imprisonment to block the flow of information from her side, although she can still receive signals from the other side. This had put the Velgrynd on the other side in full-on crisis mode. She was under Ludora's control with no idea what I was thinking. A total one-way street. I understood that Seal had done something pretty amazing, but now it hardly even felt like a surprise. So if we analyze the difference between your two consciousnesses, I think I can prove to you that you were under mind control. Yes, well done, Rimuru. My sister, you should trust in him and... Silence. Right. Ludora got reamed for that interruption, and don't tell him, but I was a little glad to see it. Now Velgrynd seemed a bit lost in thought. I guess she was trying to figure out the difference between her and the separate body, as I explained. Through the eyes of my companions, I also updated myself on what was up in the flagship. The battle was in its final stages, and something had just happened that should fully show Velgrynd what's going on. My friends had Velgrynd surrounded. Kind of a coward move, you could argue, but only if you didn't know what the deal was. The fact is, even in her weakened state, we could all dogpile on her at once and still have trouble winning. However, with the alternate dimension she created now crumbling apart, the whole thing was about ready to collapse. Or it would have, but then Diablo came along and just destroyed it with a few whacks. War. No, his name's Diablo. Pretty competent guy, when I'm not around for him to ogle. Qua ha ha ha. He gives me treats, you know. I rather like him. So Ludora sold out to him, huh? Better not treat it too seriously the next time he praises Diablo. As we continued to watch, the Velgrynd on the other side took a step back, as if to protect Ludora. Despite how things were going, he was still seated in his chair, all composed. That's a lot of guts. Or is it confidence? But as I watched, someone went on the move. It was Carrera, wielding a golden handgun, and she probably shot Ludora with it. But the bullet was... is that the bullet that weakened me? It's a judgment bullet. The most powerful one Kondo has. He can only shoot it once a day. So why does John have it? I knew what was going on because Seal told me. Not John. Her name's Carrera. I guess she beat Kondo, and then he asked her to take care of Ludora for him. Not Kondo, too, Velgrynd muttered. But events were now unfolding fast. Ludora. The other Velgrynd shouted loudly, arms outstretched to protect Ludora. Her god-level velocity was in time to catch the bullet. I gotta hand it to her. She's a monster. But the judgment bullet was no pushover, either. It penetrated Velgrynd in the right shoulder, blew her entire right arm off, and then hit Ludora anyway, going as fast as ever. But, shockingly, Ludora was unhurt. He remained totally composed, as if he knew all along Carrera's attack would be in vain. What the heck? How could he just cancel out that attack? I don't know. I saw a glimpse of a barrier, but it's hard to believe that any barrier could completely stop it. Ludora and I were both surprised. Velgrynd was just as incredulous, whispering why. As she sat down on the spot, hands on the ground. Well, what's the matter, my sister? Your friend was right, she muttered at the panicked Ludora. I really was under Ludora's control. Then she began telling us about Ludora. According to her, he had an ironclad protection system keeping him safe, something that could never be destroyed no matter who you threw at it. But there was a condition. The barrier's energy source was the loyalty of the Emperor's subjects and associates, so he needed people to remain loyal to him. That, and there was a flaw to it. Although the barrier was perfect and always on, Ludora couldn't take any action while it was activated. This was Castle Guard, one of the greatest features of the ultimate skill Michael, Lord of Justice. It had just stopped Carrera's judgment bullet, so clearly, he was all but invincible. He can't attack while it's on, but he could just have his associates handle the battle instead. If he had that kind of power, my sister, you didn't need to step up to protect him, did you? Yeah, I was just thinking that. No, replied Velgrynd. Normally I should have pretended to protect him and used that as a feint for an attack. But if that's how I acted instead. If the other Velgrynd was laying down her life needlessly to protect Ludora, there was no doubting it. Our Velgrynd now understood that she had been mind-controlled.